When I started collecting NES games again, I knew that right off the bat I wanted to get all 30 of the original Black Box games. I didn't play a lot of them in the past, so I didn't know what to expect on many of them. I knew there were certain ones I was going to really enjoy, like Popeye, but this was one that took me by surprise. Gamers first saw this game as a Nintendo versus arcade machine in 1984, and then a year later in Japan, the game found its way home on the Famicom. Another year after that, in the summer of '86, the game found its way to North America on the NES. This was the very first game that Satoru Iwata programmed for Nintendo, starting a relationship which would see him rise to becoming CEO and president of the company. I'm sure many of you already know that Mr. Iwata passed away just this past weekend, and personally I couldn't think of a better way to pay tribute than to take a look at one of his games and give it the best review I possibly could. On first inspection, Balloon Fight appears to be a takeoff of a classic arcade title called Joust. A number of people bring this up in reviews, but I think the game puts its own spin on things, and the result is a colorful game with a fun, quirky personality. Being a very early Nintendo home title, the presentation is very simple, but that does not detract from the game at all. Like many of these Black Box era games, the music was composed by Hip Tanaka, who was also known for the music in Metroid, Kid Icarus, Earthbound, and Super Mario Land on the Game Boy. Here he created a couple fun and memorable tunes, most notably the Balloon Trip theme. The gameplay is extremely simple. You control your character in the air by repeated taps of the A button. Rapid taps will cause your character to ascend, and slow taps will cause you to hover. You attack by bumping your enemies and popping their balloons, all while defending your balloons. One hit drops your opponent to the ground, and a second will send them falling to their doom. If you or your opponents fall too close to the water, you run the risk of getting eaten by a giant fish monster. Freaky. The main game is available to be played in both 1 and 2 player modes. It is actually one of the earliest simultaneous 2-player games on the home console for Nintendo. Not unlike with Joust, you can play this 2-player mode cooperatively in order to clear the stages, or you can play competitively and try to take the other player out, making this a very fun or very frustrating game to play with a friend. There is also a third game type called Balloon Trip, in which you attempt to navigate as far as you can through a field of lightning sparks. Something about Balloon Trip kind of reminds me of Flappy Bird. Just, this came 29 years earlier. I'm not good at either Balloon Trip or Flappy Bird, so I really can't say much about this. There's something about this kind of game, this type of classic arcade-style single-screen action. It's simple and easy to figure out how to play, and even if you don't do so well your first try, you do a little better on your next go. This kind of gameplay is what made games like Mario Brothers or Pac-Man or many other games in the early 80s so much fun and addictive. While I can't say that this game is perfection, but if you enjoy the old school static screen, classic arcade action titles, and you want something a little bit different, I think you should give this one a go. It's not too hard to find. An original cart for the NES will send you back about 15 to 20 in the used retail market. You can also find this game on Virtual Console for the 3DS, Wii, and Wii U, among other places. Hope you've enjoyed this review. Thank you for watching, and I'll see you next time. Take care. If you like what you see, feel free to check me out on social media. Otherwise, you can subscribe to this channel. I do new videos every Friday, sometimes on Wednesdays too. Once again, thank you for watching. Take care.